Hello, viewers. My name is Zach Hardy, and the other night, I I'm sorry. The other night, I guess last night, there was an incident involving what I guess I've read to be a suicide bombing at what's her name? I think it was an Ariana Grande concert that killed upwards of 20 people and wounded many, many more. And obviously, the incident was horrible. My heart goes out to the families and everyone affected by it. But I also need to apologize. As you may or may not have known, I was scheduling, or in the middle of scheduling, my dark comedy show on this channel for next month. And with that, I was trying to get prepared for dark comedy routines or whatever, and trying to get specific points across in a joking manner. And last night, I put out a few tweets that were tasteless and were classless. And I wanted to apologize for making them. I didn't make them for followers. I didn't make them for likes or retweets or for controversy or for attention. As much as I said I was trying to bring attention to whatever, trying to bring attention to humor instead of the negative. In truth, the purpose of the tweets were simply for, I guess, practice in dark comedy. Of course, when I sent out the tweets and I was called out by a few people, at the time I didn't really know much about the subject other than David Leavitt making a comment about it. And overall, I just thought it was a pop show that some dude blew, in the building, set up a bomb or whatever and exploded, whatever. And usually with my brand of dark comedy, I touch on subjects of tragedy and whatever. But I never really made a joke about a specific tragedy as soon as I did the other, last night. My tweets, just so that way you don't have to go and look up to my Twitter account or anything like that, so that way nobody says, oh, you're doing this for attention. My tweets were, I guess there's a new meaning behind Ariana Grande's pop music, pop in capital letters. Watch people get offended by this at an extreme rate. Guys, I'm sure the incident in Manchester was done simply because the perpetrator hated pop music. That's all. Watch people get offended at that. And while I hope that missing victims are found alive, Raw is on, but there will be no pop bigger than Manchester tonight. Sound was deafening. And that was horrible of me to say. There are comedians like Anthony Jeselnik that have said or made jokes about specific tragedies in the news, but I don't think they ever made them as soon as they did. And with the amount of time that had separated between the incident occurring or the hashtag being spread across Twitter and my tweets, it was just far too soon for me to even really try to make any joke or comment on it in a humorous way. What I said was not meant to offend the people who were affected by the incident. Um, it was just classless and very distasteful, and I'm very sorry about the comments that I made. They shouldn't have been made in the first place, and the reason I do regret making them because they were horribly offensive to not only the families of those involved, but to people who came in contact with them. The only thing I don't regret about making the comments is that now I've learned a lesson. If I hadn't made those jokes, I wouldn't have learned the lesson. And I think a big lesson that I learned was, I mean, dark comedy or dark humor is one thing. You know, you could make a joke about this incident a month from now, or 2 months from now, or 3 months from now, but I made it within, I think, 5 hours of the incident, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know when it took place, but that was very, very rude of me to do. And I have to apologize for making the comments that I made. I don't defend what I said in any way. They were tasteless, and I'm even having a hard time coming up with words to describe them. It is not really in my it is not in my nature to make comments about these tragedies. Typically, I just say something along the lines of "my heart goes out to those involved" and "my sincerest condolences go out." The other night was not the case. I am very sorry for what I said. And I can't take them back. And you all have ample reason to hate me, like me, and to call me all the names in the book. But I do want to say that I am very, very sorry for the comments that I made. I'm sorry to the people that were affected. To anybody that was involved in the event, I would like to apologize most sincerely to you. They were very offensive, and I'm sorry for making a joke at your expense or your loved one's expense. There's not much else I can really say about my comments, because all the negative things that needed to be said, I may have touched on. I am a horrible person. I know you may. See me laugh at that and go, "Oh, he's not he's not serious," or whatever. He thinks this is a joke. I know I'm a terrible person. I've been that way for a long time. Part of the reason why nobody really, I guess, credits me for anything good, and it makes me believe that I am a bad person. And the tweets that I made kind of make me feel that way as well. This is not for people to feel pity for me or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. But I'm glad that in the light of my evil, there were many, many, much more in the amount of others that showed good and showed light when I showed darkness. And again, I am very sorry. Aside from that, there are things that were said last night, and there are things that were revealed last night. There were families involved. There were upwards of 20 people, I believe, that were killed. I think I read something about the perpetrator being killed as well. One of the victims was an 8-year-old girl, which makes me feel even worse. And I really don't know what else to say. Obviously, there were things that were said. The biggest one came from David Levitt. I always I don't know. I'm sorry. But he got caught under a lot of fire. And I got caught in a minuscule amount of fire. But even though, I don't know, fuck, I really don't know what to say about this. It was obviously a terrible thing that happened. There's a lot that is still yet to be revealed. But I am sorry for what I said. It I don't know what else to say. Again, I'm sorry to all those offended by my tweets. I understand where you're coming from. There's like guys like Anthony Jeselnik who will make this kind of joke or whatever, or later on or whatever, and people would be like, "That's just Anthony." And of course, I'd like to have that kind of thing be thought of, with me, like, "Oh, Zack said something. It's just Zack being Zack. It's something to be, it's nothing to be hurt by. He's not making it as offensive, or he's not meaning for it to be offensive." That's obviously not the case. I'm not like Anthony Jeselnik, even though what I said was not meant to be offensive. It was just meant to be a dark, joke. Not meant for offense. Just meant to be, I guess, a dark humor piece. I don't know. But what I said was classless, and what I said was terrible and horrible, and I'm sorry. I know you may be thinking, oh, he doesn't show it on his face, or he's not crying, he's not stuttering his words, whatever, so he must not be sincere. And if you think that, then it's not like I can change your mind by saying, no, I am sincere. Even though I am sincere, I don't know. I'm sorry. I've been all over the place in this video. I think I should just end it before before I just go way past the timestamp. So yeah, I again am sorry to everybody that was offended by the jokes, and I'm sorry for everything that happened. And I wish this wouldn't have happened. This incident wouldn't have happened, because there are people that will not see their families or loved ones again. And my heart goes out to the victims, and I want to give them my best wishes and my condolences. To those lost in the incident, I hope you find peace wherever you end up next. And yeah, so I'm Zach Hardy, signing off.